Trying to get going. We got a flat. We gotta get some air in that tire first. Then we'll be going places. Check out the barn. Well, everything's kind of a mess right now, but we're working on that. Welcome to my barn. This is what this vlog is going to be about, my 1956 150 series Chevy car. I've had this car for almost 20 years now, and it was nice. It was decent. I'll put some pictures in, but over the years, it has just had better days, seen better days. Whoa. So, my goal is to rebuild it and take you along. Now, some of that stuff looks, if you're a Tri-5 guy, some things look out of place, some things look modified. Let me explain. So a boatload of years ago, I decided I was going to redo this car. Like nearly 10 years ago, I was going to redo everything. I was going to get an Art Morrison chassis, and I had the deposit, I had the forms filled out, I had everything picked, how I was going to do it, the whole nine. And I started thinking about it, and even though the 150 series, it's the lowest grade, it's the lowest base model. This car was originally a 6-cylinder. It was originally black, which the black paint is still on this car. This car has so much paint on it, it's not even funny. But under the rust, under there's the black paint is still there. So I decided, instead of just having you run-of-mill things, since I was a diesel mechanic for years and years and years, I decided, why don't I put a Cummins in there? Now, yes, way back then, it wasn't very popular. You didn't really hear people doing it. It wasn't on TV and things. Now, it's a little more mainstream, but I'm still going to leave it instead of going back to gas. The original plans was for a 383 stroker, and instead I did a 12 valve. I'll put some pictures in there. I drove it around for a few years like that, and then catastrophe struck. It was my own fault. We had sold our house, and we were temporarily in an apartment till we found our house now, and I had to store it, and I stored it at a friend's place. Well, the last year I drove it, the water pump blew on my way to the last car show of the year. With that, the water was leaking out, so I just filled it with water. I'm gonna turn the fan on in here. So I filled it with water and drove it home, and I put it right in storage, and that was fine. There was no issues with that. I drained it back out. Well, where I was storing it, the guy said I would be the first one out, and if I wanted to save some money, I could come and get it early. That was end of January, beginning of February, and it was super nice for like 2 weeks. Western New York, that's kind of odd, but so I called it the end of first winter. Well, I went and filled it up with water, drove it home to my new house, had it parked in the side driveway, and in the video coming down in the beginning, it's millings now. It wasn't. It was just grass and very slick, wet grass. So hopefully the fan's not too loud. So with that, I had it out there, and it was supposed to get freezing cold the next couple days. So I brought it down to the barn. I got it. It's buried in the mud. Buried, absolutely buried. And then I finally got it in here, was happy and stressed. And in the midst of all this chaos, I totally forgot to drain the water. Well, that led to the water in the block freezing. Pushed out all the soft plugs, snapped the oil filter housing. I believe I got some pictures of everything. Ruined a few other things. So then, unfortunately, with that, so I did the repairs. I fixed everything that I found wrong. A couple of people said that it's probably cracked. And I said, well, with the soft plugs all popping out like that, there's a good chance that it did not. So with all the repairs done, I filled it back up, fresh oil, fresh water, coolant, and fired it up. Instant milkshake, and I was just not happy. Very upset about it. So that led me to now. I should have started this earlier, but so I took the 12 valve out and the 47 RE and pulled everything out, took the engine apart, stripped it completely. I still have some of the parts here. You can see some of the bearings, it's some of the parts. So with that, there was no evidence when I pulled the head off that I thought initially maybe the head gasket went. Looking at the head gasket, it wasn't bad. So I've had a bad head gasket on a 6.7 before. I know what those look like. Plus being a diesel mechanic. So yeah, obviously this one's older, but so that was still good. So I dug into it a little bit further, got it all cleaned out. Come to my surprise, I totally forgot about the four soft plugs in the cam cover housing. So where the push rods go through and the tappets. So that was my fault forgetting about those. And lo and behold, 3 of the 4 were pushed out. So all the water I put in it went right in the oil. So maybe it was saved. Maybe it was okay. But I was frustrated. I knew there was water on everything. I was fairly certain that the crank was going to be rusted and the bearings were probably going to be shot, and I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I pulled it out, I pulled it out, talked to a couple people, and I ended up taking it down to Ohio. 4.5 hours away is D&J Precision. They make the Enforcer, the Executioner, which is the fastest diesel truck right now. So that's where my 12 valve is currently, and they're going to rebuild it for me. We're pushing for, well, the transmission and stuff is built to hold 800 horse. I don't necessarily want to be at 800 horse, but in that area, 6, 7, 8, we'll see. That's where I'd like to be. That's where we're going to shoot for. So while that's away, Drew and those guys are backed up, as most places are. I'm not in a huge hurry, so I just wanted to get it to them now, so it's kind of in line. That'll give me time to do the repairs on this car, to do it right, fix it the way it should have been fixed, and the way I should have did it years ago. Probably going to keep some of the things. I'm going to look for a better intercooler, because that intercooler is smoked. It's pretty rough. The radiator, however, that's original 1956 radiator for a V6. I had it record, and the fittings changed to work for the diesel. So Erie Radiator did that, and so I'm probably going to take it back to them, have them go through it, clean it out, check it, and make sure that nothing happened to that in the freeze. And I'd like to reuse that. The car didn't overheat with it, and I didn't even have a fan on the car. So I do plan to run electric fan. So we'll see that, maybe a dual, we'll figure something out at that point. But what I am going to do with the car now, I'm going to pull everything off of it. I'm going to pull the front end off. I'm going to pull the body off the chassis. The chassis had some modifications to fit the diesel. I need to go through, recheck everything, clean it up, fix a couple of the modifications, and then I'm going to sandblast the whole frame, going to run all new lines and restore this car properly. The whole floor pan of the car has to come out. It's all rotted, so that needs to go. We miss taking this thing out to car shows and driving it around, so that's my plan. I'm hoping to get some steel wheels for it. I'm not a flashy person when it comes to this car. So the original colors were going to be like a candy green and a gloss black on the top. I'm thinking more now of doing a matte gray or a flat gray, and then painting all the chrome black or something like that. Something along those lines, or vice versa, whatever. So what I've been doing is, this is literally a horse barn. It was a 8-stall horse barn, and I converted it away from a horse barn. So I put up some cruddy workbenches and kind of moved everything I could. I'm going to slowly get it back to being decent enough. And until I can build my shop the way I want it, well, this is what I got. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you'll stick around and watch. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. I'll answer them the best I can. I'm not a professional at restoring, so when I was younger, I did help my father with a couple, and I'll do what the best I can, the way I know how, and take you guys along for the journey. So if you could do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. So let's get to it.